What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. In this video, we're going to talk all about Solana. We're going to talk about how you can make a ton of money, but also farm what I think are two significant airdrops with really a weight to the Jupe token, which has done phenomenally well. So if that interests you, make sure you stay tuned. But always remember, I'm just a guy on YouTube. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. On top of that, if you want to continue to get sort of up-to-date strategies and sort of know exactly what's going on and make sure you get the extra coaching, guidance, and support, check out the Web3 Secret Society. Links to that are in the description below. Now, one of the things I do want to mention is just take a look at the price of Solana. It is very resilient. Over the last 7 days, we really went up to like $210. We went all the way down to 167. In fact, in yesterday's live stream, it was like between like 170 and 165, somewhere in that range, where I was just buying a bunch of Solana. I remember telling you guys, I was doing it live, borrowing some money from Communo Finance. And for those of you who don't remember, Communo Finance is a platform where we can borrow assets and we can lend assets. Now, the way that I like to play this, right? Number one thing, there is going to be a snapshot for Communo Finance. So if you look at it from the perspective of their point system, right now I have a 1.4 million points. I'm getting 82,717 points per day. And their sort of season 2 starts on March 24th. At kind of like an overlapping season, right? Season 1 ends actually March 31st with a snapshot. But my goal here is to earn as much points as possible, but I don't just want to do that, because when you're only looking to farm an airdrop, you're leaving money on the table. Always ask yourself, when I'm doing something, right, like outside like testnet stuff, right, how can I make money while also earning an airdrop? That is like the best of both worlds. So I'm going to show you this cheat code in right now. So before I do that, though, I want to just quickly explain sort of how Communo Finance works. So Communo Finance, if you deposit collateral, right? So you deposit collateral, like in this case, I deposited Solana token. You are then able to borrow stable coins. So what I do here is, like right now, you can see here, 100% of USDC is borrowed, 100% of USDT is borrowed. Don't listen to that. That is wrong. What you have to do is when you go to borrow, so let's say I want to borrow USDC, I put like my mouse over this and it will tell me currently there's $53 available in capacity. I literally check it every other minute if I'm looking to borrow like a couple thousand, because people are sort of flipping it every so often. They're buying and selling. They're sort of, replenishing the USD. They're sort of borrowing it, returning it, maybe getting liquidated, and that is returning it. So like, even though you think it's not available, you can. That's the first thing to know, okay? The second thing to know is if you want to borrow USDC, you also want to make sure that you're betting on something that is oversold. So this is why I was actually, not that I was happy that the dips was happening, but over here, when we started retracing, I waited for watching the chart. And I usually have Trading View open, but in there you sort of see the lines, and it's going up and down, up and down. And once I started to see the pattern start to break, right? So it was sort of like, even over here, right? It was still like, lower lows, lower highs, kind of all the way down. And what happened was, as we came down here, I'm like, all right, well, at the price of like between 170 and 165, I'm confident that the price of Solana will kind of rebound, whether it's in a week, few weeks, I don't care. So what I did was I have my collateral on here, right? And you don't need much. It all depends. It's very relative, right? So I had 15, maybe 13,000 at the time worth of collateral in here. So I borrowed 4,000 USDC. I could have borrowed way more. I could have borrowed like 7,000 with no problem, right? But obviously you want to be more safe as well. So I borrowed 4,000 and literally went on Jupiter, and I used their limit order function to swap USDC for Solana token. And here's why. Because I borrowed USDC, I will owe USDC plus interest. However, by buying Solana token, I am able to capture any increases in the price of that token and the token goes up, the profit goes to me, not to Communo Finance. So in this case, what had happened, I'll just give you the example. As we sort of went up, I sold it all around here, like around 185, right? It was 185, and the average price was like 167, 168 or something like that. So for every token that I bought from that $4,000, like I made like around 15 to 20% on that kind of move. So I hope that sort of makes sense. And by doing that, I paid $1 in interest. I made over like $400. So that was very easy money. And by doing that, I did a couple things. Number one, while I had the USDC borrowed, I was earning even more points. I had a bigger boost. And I also sort of replenished whenever I borrowed and put this, whatever I borrowed to buy the USDC, whatever I borrowed to get the USDC, I then would deposit that token into the supply side to keep my loan to value level high enough. So if I wanted to borrow even more, I could do that, right? So if I wanted to go up to like $8,000 in sort of loans, I could have done that, sort of doing this looping process. And this increased my earning potential up to like 10,000, 100,000 or 115,000 points per day. So that stuff is running up while all this is going on. So I'm pumping up my Communo airdrop. That's number one. And number two, by doing this, I'm also giving myself the volume on Jupiter. And I'm going to explain why this is very important, because I think a lot of people have forgotten about this. When you're on Jupiter, I want you guys to not use swap. I almost never use this. It is a little faster, it's a little more convenient, but the limit order function is probably the most used. And I'll just sort of show you what I mean. If I go to order history, remember, guys, I did not even use this protocol since before in January. I hadn't used this at all on this wallet, right? And you can see here, like, look how many high value transactions, 2,000, 15, 500, like literally, like, look how many things I'm doing, 203 with 1,000 USDC, 1,000 USDT, bunch of like sold transactions, USDC, and I got pages of it, right? Remember, none of this was done before. Imagine how much volume I've done in their limit orders, and none of these were fake transactions. All these transactions were things I did to turn profits. One more thing you could do as well is, if you'd like to DCA, you can set aside an amount. So if I put like 1,000 USDC in here and say, hey, I want to buy, SOL every every day, do this over like 10 days, and it's going to charge me, start DCAing, and sort of it'll split the amount up. So it's 10 different buys over, so one a day for 10 days. I did this already once. So let me see if I did this here, past DCAs. So you see it. So I've already gotten that done. It's something, whatever. And then there's a bridge, which I have not done. I'm probably going to look at doing a bridge at one point. But you definitely want to, at one point, if you want to earn the Jupiter airdrop, you want to have used every single one of these functions, right? So if you swap once, it's whatever. Limit order, I put so much volume in. DCA I've used once. Bridge I've never used, but I'm going to make sure I do it as I move the 1,000 USDC sitting in this account to another chain. And then maybe do perpetuals like once. So, you can do it like whatever, go long and stuff. And this is another way you can make money. Remember, so if you are confident, right, you can definitely don't go crazy on leverage. The reason people blow up their accounts is they'll go in here and they're like, oh, I want a 50x, I want a 57.8x leverage, right? And then you get liquidated on any of these like stupid manipulations. That's exactly what happened, right? When you see things shoot up really fast, it's because people have to cover and sort of buy back to get there, right? So this is typically like liquidating shorts is so bad. And same thing with liquidating long. That's why it's so extremes, right? When you get that derivative. Don't forget the guy from Squid Games, the Sangwoo guy, right? That's what he was doing. He was trading derivatives. And, these shorts and longs are part of that. But you don't want to go crazy. You can do like something. If you're going to use leverage, use it between like 1 to 2, and make sure you feel very comfortable, because then you don't get anywhere close to blowing up your account, and you can sort of make a profit. Because obviously when something is retracing and you say, hey, this is sort of in kind of short term, I'm okay putting this much money in to buy the token, let's do it. That's sort of what I do. So you can do it here, you can do it on Communo Finance. I really think this is a huge cheat code because right now we are still in a massive bull market. There's no reason to believe things should sort of slow down. This is more of a blip. And if I was a betting man when it comes to predictions, I think we're going to blow past 70,000 to 80,000 in the next month. That's just my opinion. Obviously, don't quote me on it. But I truly believe that we are more likely to go up than down from here. And you're probably going to hear that and go, yeah, duh, obviously, right? I mean, that's why we're in crypto. That's also why I have not been selling a single Bitcoin. The only Bitcoin I have lost is when I bought that Runestone NFT. Now, you still got 10 more days to farm on Communo Finance. I think I'm going to probably use this even after, given sort of the earning potential I can get by buying some tokens and, borrowing USDC, buying the token I think is going to go up, selling that token that sort of went up after, replenishing the USDC and taking the rest off as profit. Now, one of the things that's very interesting, and I do want to cover this, is Communo Finance fumbled big time. So at the start of March, or March 7th, they announced their sort of airdrop plans. And this is sort of the last thing you want to do with any protocol, because once you do it, people start gamifying it. You get tons of whales coming in. And obviously, like what happened is over the next couple of days, we saw all the things fill up. And surprise, surprise, it's because you let the whales know, hey, come in here before March 31st. We're taking a snapshot. This is like you literally told them the playbook. Like you literally gave them sort of, here's what's going on, like 10 billion total supply. Here's how much is going to the community, 7%, and it's linear. And obviously by telling people that, they're like, oh, well, all I got to do is put liquidity in here. So whales just took their money over and did it. But what happened recently was today, or I guess, no longer today, but yesterday, Communo Finance made an announcement that they were going to add an additional 0.5% of the total supply going to OGs. Now, before you get excited, OGs aren't really what you think they are. OGs are people who had their account before October 20th, 2023, which obviously doesn't qualify me. Maybe it qualifies you, but it is very interesting because, they will have a sort of tiered Communo allocation for the 0.5, and they're also going to provide any early users, anyone who participated in season 1 will get a loyalty boost to season 2. So obviously these things recur, and we want to make sure we come back and earn more. We saw the same thing with Optimism. I think they're on their second or third airdrop. Aptos is about to do their second airdrop, so if you haven't done that already, do their Aptos Quest 4. They've actually verified anyone who's done it, so you can go back to Galaxy and confirm and get your OAT. But it's really good to see this from Communo Finance. But let's just take a look at Jupiter, because that's the other thing. I think this is even more potential, although we've got to wait a little longer. We have to wait till next January 31st. One of the things I will say here is Jupiter's done fantastic, right? Like look at just the token appreciation. It's very, very good. If you haven't already, if you don't have any Jupiter token, make sure you get some if you can. Go in here and then stake it. Doesn't matter if it's one token, it doesn't matter. And then you go in and vote. Now, the voting process for these two have already finished, right? Round 1 of LFG and sort of which animal is the cutest. But, there are a couple more coming, and then, we'll get some rewards coming to us after as well. So that's interesting. Now, the last thing I do want to talk about here is because I did talk about this cheat code. So guys, remember, when I do airdrops, I like to do them in a smart way. I like to do it in a way where I'm not just making a bunch of fees and a bunch of nonsense transactions and wasting my time. I'm putting together a plan incorporating everything that's going to earn me airdrops and sort of utilizing all of that in a sort of succinct manner to also earn me money. So it's always very important to understand the tokenomics. And for Jupiter, right, like it was a little confusing, but if you look over here, they have a 10 billion sort of mint. What was very interesting is 4 billion of that 10 billion is distributed over 4 separate airdrops on January 31st of each year. So they have 3 more billion Jupe tokens to give out. And this is definitely going to be for people who've adopted this. So when I see people who just choose to split sort of what they use, like great, like we've got access to Jupiter. You won't catch me trading on anything else. If I gotta get my buy some Sol, I'm doing it over here. If I've got to do some sort of DEX trades that I can do and it's available here, I will do it. So just like for something like this, I would recommend, if you're in Solana, make sure you just use Jupiter every single opportunity. Use the limit order, right? Do that. And then over here, go to Communo Finance, come back here and literally look for opportunities. So the next time we see a market pullback, let's say tomorrow something happens, right? And Solana goes back to 160, 165. If you lend money into here, borrow USDC, buy the Solana on Jupiter with that USDC, right? Wait for the price to go up, sell it, and then rinse and repeat. And you've made money, or you made tokens, points on Communo Finance. You've earned order volume on Jupiter, and you've earned cash. So if the airdrops crash and burn, if they do like a polyhedra, doesn't matter. I mean, obviously it matters, but it doesn't hurt as much. So guys, that's pretty much it. Hey, Chippy, good to see you. Swiss M, how's it going? I hope you guys have some clarity on how you can maximize in this ecosystem. Guys, if you haven't, if you're not clear, watch the video again. Remember, this is about putting together a cohesive strategy. It's about making sure that regardless of what happens with airdrops, you're making money. And what I want for you guys is to learn how to make the money. This is what most people are doing anyways. But what you're doing is you're getting a rebate, because not only are you making money by sort of, knowing when to buy certain tokens because they've regressed and sort of using that approach, but you're also putting yourself in a big way set up to get those airdrops. Remember, Jan 31st is going to come before you know it. It's only 10 months away at this point, but literally, like, I feel like I would have thought 12 months away was like a few weeks ago, right? That's how it feels like anyways. So just make it and integrate it as part of what you do. And that's always what I've believed for the majority of airdrops. I hate the ones where I have to go in and sort of do a weird transaction every so often that I would never do. But I don't hate it enough not to do it, because I do love money. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want extra coaching, guidance, and support, I do got that private group. But either way, please please share the video if you can. Subscribe to the channel because it obviously helps. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.